we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it.
All right, welcome to episode 113 of the Abuse Hour. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. Good times, man. I was really hoping, I was thinking today I wanted to do like just an all laughs thing, because for so long it's just been, it's all bad noise. And yeah, granted, man, it is called the Abuse Hour, but for God's sake, I mean, does it have to be bad noise all the time? And I thought, I'd like to do something and have a laugh about something. I don't know that it's in the cards, though. I want to hit on this, the Carmelo Anthony, this guy, this genuine broccoli-headed piece of work, man. What can you say about Carmelo Anthony that you can't say about a serious case of VD, right? But we'll come to him in due course. First, though, I guess I wanted to hit on a question that came up in the chat straight away. And Lord Marcus, player that he is, mentioned, he'd asked, hey, in the military, do people actually eat MREs? Dude, the MRE question, I mean, this is like, it's like the JQ of military living. So MREs, yes, people eat them, man. MREs are disgusting fucking stuff. So the deal on the MRE, this is meal ready to eat. And the idea of the MRE is that you get it in this big fucking box. And I can't remember how many of them come in each box, but you've got this giant box, and each of these things contains, I want to say around 2,000 calories. It's a shit ton of calories, but it will make you nasty constipated. You will not be happy. And these things are manufactured with, I don't know what kind of nuclear off-world preservative, but these things, like every MRE you're going to get is pretty much manufactured like 10 years ago. I don't know where they put them or why you can't have something that even loosely resembles fresh food. It probably goes, there's some kind of racket, I'm sure, like quick pigeonhole. Like everybody has kind of discussed, if you know anything about like military life, or even you have any kind of visibility on this, you will have noticed that the lesser thans in the military, your lower ASVAB scores, your less reliable people, yes, third country national types, Filipinos, blacks, these people occupy these positions, usually supply or in the mess hall or handing out keys so you can, drive somewhere in a vehicle. They occupy these, just like in real life, kind of dipshit jobs, like jobs that you could probably train a monkey to do. These are the jobs that, in some cases literally, right? But these are the jobs that these people have. Something I had noticed where food is concerned is that some of these fuckers, like, they've all got their rackets, right? Like, if they're involved, if there's any significant number of them involved, there's a black market, there's rackets, there's all kinds of shit. All right, so a specific instance of this, when I was deployed, my very, very first deployment, I would get up to go to breakfast because I like getting breakfast, and I would always see that, like, no matter how early I got up, the food that was out there, right, the cereal particularly, the breakfast cereal that is out there, is just the shit cereal. So you get these little boxes, like the little, single serving boxes, and it would always be like Corn Flakes, Special K, Rice Krispies, right? Like the cereal that nobody really wants to eat. And not that that goy slop is good for you, but if you get up in the morning, and you're deployed and you're just being miserable for most hours of the day, you look and you're like, I could go with a nice, a good looking cereal. Give me a Frosted Wheats, delicious goy slop tastiness. But no matter how early I got up, I would get out there and this is all that would be left. And I'm like, motherfucker. So I started getting up earlier and earlier and earlier. So pretty soon I'm getting out of bed because I got nothing else to do, right? Like I'm deployed. We weren't deployed anywhere good. It's not like you can go hanging out and sleep in. Like you're just somewhere that sucks ass. So I got nothing else to do. So this becomes a thing, right? So I'm getting up earlier and earlier and earlier. And pretty soon I'm like staking out this fucking cereal situation in the chow hall. And I watch the guy walk out, like the guy is just leaving and I go and look and I'm like, those motherfuckers. And I just know that this little Filipino motherfucker is taking the good cereals and running off with them. So I'm like, you son of a bitch. So I had at the time, just by the nature of my job, I had a little bit of rank where I could go to this dude and like, hey, do this shit. I'm going to stand here and watch you do this shit. I'm going to watch you empty this fucking cereal because they bring it out in this box and now pop it open and dump it out. So I go out there and now I'm out there watching them set up, and I'm like, all right, fuck sticks. Like today's my day. I'm getting good cereal. And here comes this little Filipino dude and he goes out here and pops this box open where all the cereal is supposed to be and dumps it out. And I will be goddamned if it is not all Special K, Rice Krispies, just the shit cereal. You're like, what is this shit? But then I notice, finally, I notice what's happening, and when the guy's walking out here with these boxes, that he's very carefully cradling them, just so. And I'm like, dude, it's a box of cereal. Like, this is not a heavy item. And he's cradling it just so, and I walk over and I snatch this dude up, and I'm like, come here. And I take this big box that the cereal comes in, and what these fucks were doing was cracking open the bottom of the boxes and taking the good cereal, and they would rat hole this shit, and then they would trade it for whatever they want. So, whatever you want, you want something from some other department, you've got, good cereal to trade. I'm going to trade you this, you're going to give me that. So they've got their own little black market thing going. So I'm like, all right, smart fuck, go in the back and get a box that's not rat fucked like this, and you bring it back to me, and I want these cereals. Do it now. And when there's some bullshit that goes on. Like there's some hey, I know, white guy, you got to go by the rules, and if you're going to threaten me, then I'm going to report you and this and that. And maybe he's just a lower ranking dude, but he'll have some pull because now maybe the guy in charge of the mess hall is going to go to the guy that you report to and hey, one of your guys is threatening my guys and I don't appreciate it, and maybe something bad happens to your food. What about that then? And what I noticed though is once you make that decision, you make that fucking leap that yeah, the gloves are off now, asshole. You got a fucking angry white man coming at your fucking neck. You better shit answers immediately. Suddenly is okay. I will hook you up, bro. I will hook you up. It's okay. It's cool. And now suddenly, me and the boys can hey, when I fucking come in here or when any of my boys come in here, I want to see good fucking cereal. And yeah, it's fucking cereal. But this is how it would fucking go with everything. So food in the military was it's fucking horror, man. And this MRE situation, this is what you would get if you're out and away and you can't get to, the chow hall or whatever. So they would give you this stuff. And this stuff is absolute shit. It is the worst fucking food imaginable. They make it with this preservative. And if you eat enough of them, all you could taste is the fucking preservative. So the deal on this thing is on one hand, they're going to try to tell you about how ingenious it's put together and how all the calories are packed in just so. And you got your little coffee and your little creamer and all this shit and all the nutrients that are represented and all of this. And if you eat all of this shit, basically it'll keep you alive for the whole day. But you really got to eat everything in there. You got to eat all the creamer. You got to eat all the fucking coffee. You got to eat the little water flavoring pack. And they'll put it's a thing of Kool-Aid that they put in there. And the idea here basically is you dump this in your water and this will get you to drink the fucking water. Because otherwise the people that they're giving these things to are too fucking stupid to actually drink water. So you got to make it taste good so they'll fucking drink it, right? So the thing with these, man, is when I very first was introduced to the idea of the MRE, like, I didn't know, that like this is hell on earth. This is not delicious. And it's your first time doing it. And I was in training when I ever first got introduced to these. And I think what had happened, again, like not getting into too many fine details, but it was a piece of training that was designed to be absolutely fucking rock bottom, miserable in a surreal kind of a way. Like, am I even fucking awake right now? This is so fucked up. And what happened was we're out here training, and they get everybody all stretched out, like you go on a run where everybody gets all stretched out or something, and you're in a long ass line. All right, stop, assholes. All right, take seats. It's dinner time. And you're like, shit. So you're out here and you're miserable and dirty and unhappy, and then they come by and just dump you one of these fucking MREs and like, all right, everybody hold up your fucking MRE. Everybody's got an MRE, and they're like, all right, if somebody doesn't have one, you're all going to be in big fucking trouble. And like, you're the guy handing this out, man, and we're all fucked up. So they're like, hold up your fucking MREs. You're like, all right, here. And now, through some black magic, somebody wouldn't have one. Like, all right, idiots, you fucked up. Set your MRE down, and now you're going to fucking run off somewhere. You're going to run around in a circle or some shit. You're going to get all discombobulated. All right, get back over there. Everybody get an MRE and hold it up in the air. And you do this a few times, and every fucking time I would do it, I would end up with corned beef hash. And I'm like, God damn it. And you think, like, this is part of the gag, I think, is that just like the chow hall gag, they would fuck you around and they'd open the box of MREs and take out just a shit ton of corned beef hash and maybe a few other things that were Christ awful, fucking ham slice or the fucking hot dogs, 4 fingers of death. And they would just put just these and hand those out. And what would happen was everybody's like, shit, I'm miserable enough as it is, and now I gotta eat an MRE for dinner, and I got ham slice. This fucking sucks. So after we gaggle fuck up, and everybody has to run back, now I'm going to run back here and try to get a different one, different than the fucking ham slice. But the gag is, they're like, you're running all which fucking way trying to get a different one. Everybody else is doing that too. And you're only ever going to get another ham slice or a hot dog or fucking corned beef hash or something fucking awful. Right? So everybody's running every which fucking direction, and you're just going to keep this going until you come to terms with the fact that, like, I would rather just eat a shit MRE than keep running in fucking circles and getting fucked with and all this kind of thing. So it's just total fuck games. But the MRE then, man, like, the deal on these was I had a guy, my second crew that I was with, and this dude, he had done an exchange program. So like where you see in the chat where somebody had posted a holy shit, this got me heated, man. Somebody had posted a Russian MRE, and goddamn it, that looked like, even if it's nice packaging, for Christ's sake, it looks like good eating, man. And the stuff that we had, like, it was depressing and sad and upsetting, and I was so fucking miserable. And I guess to kind of back up a little ways, let me try to explain, like, the source of my disgruntlement on this. When I was a kid, this dude that I knew had a Japanese exchange student, and he was a nice enough kid, but my grandfather, who was in the Navy in the Pacific during World War II, and I don't know what all this dude was involved in or what all he fucking saw. I think that guy saw some motherfuckers getting, like, melted into the deck and shit, like some pretty fucked up shit. Because this guy was real fucking cool, but he had this distant sternness to him. They're like, I'm real fucking cool. I'll give you a quarter every time I see you because I'm a grandfather, but do not fucking try me. And I never fucking tried him. But he was always real cool. Nice guy, like real nice guy, until he saw this fucking exchange student. And I think I was like, I don't know, maybe 12 or some shit. And this kid is like a 12-year-old Japanese kid, and he's just like, hello. And my grandfather walks in and, like, immediately, like, 0 to 100 and like, oh, what are you doing there, Shanghai? And I'm like, Christ, it's a fucking kid. I'm like, hey, take it easy. And he's like, yeah, hey, you be quiet. You, what are you doing, Shanghai? And he's like, I know, understand. He's like, he understands. Look at me. What are you doing? And I'm like, bro, take it easy. Let's get the fuck out of here. So we kind of shoot away. And at the time, like, it didn't register to me at all. Like, what is it with old men getting so fucking spun about shit, you know, like this sometimes? And another time, I had a science teacher, And this guy, I guess by coincidence, had also been in the Navy and had been on submarines. And he was an old guy, and he didn't never really talk. It's what the fucking sub guys do, I guess, except suck each other off, as I understand, right? But anyway, but he starts talking about it, and he's saying that one time he met a guy from, the new Navy, as he called it, which was, in the 80s when I was a kid. And he's talking about, in this motherfucker, he's talking about, we had water hours. We had hours where these are the only hours that you could use the water. And you could see this guy getting visibly angry. Like, he was fucking pissed. And he's like, you want to hear about a hard time? You want to hear about a hard time? Let me tell you about melting ice so you can fucking shave. And I'm like, wow, that does sound like it sucked. And then after I got a little older and I actually had to shave, now I'm thinking about, like, why did you have to fucking shave on a goddamn submarine? Like, who are you going to see? Like, the admiral is not going to be walking by. I mean, what the fuck is going on? But I think that was part of the thing, that, like, you're having to melt ice just to, look pretty for some fuck stick that isn't going to be all right with you having a beard. And he was fucking heated. And I'm like, the guy you're pissed at isn't even fucking here. You're getting mad, like, at me at the class or whatever. And still, at the time, it didn't quite sink in. So later on now, when, like, the shoe is in my lap, right? I happened to be in the South, and I went to like this tour thing where I guess it was like a former plantation where they had slaves and such, and now it's like a destination type thing where you can do weddings or photos or whatever the fuck, lunch or whatever, right? And I'm hanging out and I'm reading all the signs, and the way that everything is now, everything is just such a fucking sob story, and it's on and on about people taken against their will from the land of their birth. Of course, no mention of the people who bought or sold them or were the primary, beneficiaries of this entire enterprise. But we're running on, and I'm looking at this place, and it's these good-looking brick structures with, like, 2 people high bunks and a fireplace and plenty of room to stretch out. And I'm instantly like my grandfather, right? I'm like 0 to 100 in about a second, and I'm fucking heated. And my woman's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, man, you got to be fucking shitting me. I'm like, you want to hear about how I've lived in places, sleeping on bare fucking floors, eating absolute trash for food, and this is the kind of shit I'm supposed to feel fucking bad over? I would have counted my lucky stars. Everybody I worked with would have been like, we're staying here. This is the shit. Go, asshole. I see this shit and I'm like, instant fucking fury. And it seems like the older you get, like, the more inclined you are to this shit. At least me, anyways. Because I see, like, these Russian MRE situation and I'm instantly like, because these American MREs, dude, like, this is not good eating. So, again, to kind of get back on track here, when I very first ever learned to start dealing with these things or eating them or, trying to make something of them, this dude that I had worked for, this guy got on an exchange program, and he got to trade out where, like, we had dudes that would come over here for training from, like, all over the world. I worked with, like, some dudes from Greece. I worked with some fuckers from India. One dude from Singapore, like a bunch of motherfuckers from everywhere. And then in exchange, we would send other people to other places. And this dude that I worked with had a gig in Australia working with these dudes. So this fucking guy, I don't know what Australian MREs are like. Everything else I saw, like, I had 2 different Australia trips, and everything I saw was like, pretty much everybody around the world eats better, lives better, sleeps better. Like, everything is fucking better if you're a military dude, pretty much anywhere around the world, except maybe, the Foreign Legion or some kind of shit. So this guy is like all about, like, all right, look, here's how you rig these things up, and here's how you prep this thing. And he'd show you all these little fucking tricks. And I guess these Aussies, the SAS guys, like, they do a lot of out in the field bush type shit. So he's talking about, like, yeah, you're going to be out here for days, weeks, whatever the fuck. And he's showing you how to, like, strip down your MRE, and this is the shit you need, this is the shit you don't need. You compile all your shit paper so it's in one spot, and then he'll show you, he's like taping it up, and a lot of these things, they come in like, the pouches will come in like little cardboard boxes, and the ounces to pounds thing is no joke, dude. Like, you want to get rid of the extra weight type shit. So he'd strip away all these boxes, some stuff he's like, yeah, fuck this, and then tape all the shit together. And then, like, one of the most important things was that you got to have a fucking place to put this stuff after you eat it. So all these pouches and this kind of shit, like, you got to put this someplace. And it's got to be someplace, like, locked up. Like, you got to bring, like, an extra plastic bag to lock this shit up and lock it away. You keep it in your bag, and then you throw it out when you get home. So you don't just leave it, obviously, because somebody's going to stumble by and see that. You don't bury it, because a decent tracker will cruise by and he'll see that, like, oh, something's disturbed here. Let me fuck around and see if this is, like, somebody took a shit here, somebody buried something here. And then based on what they find and how much of what they find, they can figure out sometimes who you are, what you're doing. I mean, if you come across, like, some MRE trash and you're finding, like, the cardboard boxes, and you're finding, some of the shit that people would just throw away, like the little Tabasco bottle. Motherfucker, I hate Tabasco sauce like nothing you can imagine. I won't even go near that shit. If I smell that shit, I'm like instantly angry because it reminds me of MREs. Anyway, so if a dude finds like some Tabasco bottles, like the little bottles or the cardboard box that some of the pouches come in, or even worse, like the big pouch on the outside that the whole to-do comes wrapped up in, then you know that, like, you're dealing with some fucking schnooks. Like, you're dealing with some guys that are probably fucking helpless out here, can't fight for shit. And that ain't meant to be actually an insult. That's just a matter of fact. Like, you haven't been doing this long enough to be any good at what you're out here doing. Plus, you don't know how to stay a little bit invisible, so you're just leaving trash everywhere. Like, you're easy fucking prey. So that's just kind of the way that it is with this fucking thing. If a guy finds like a very streamlined, taped up fucking thing, or maybe some shit all mixed up, and I'll come to this, then you know that you might be dealing with somebody else. And that could be anybody from like just some grunt that knows what he's doing up to like an operator level. Like, this guy is probably with other guys that will fuck you up. Maybe we proceed carefully. So here's what I'm getting at with that is, some of these fuckers, like this guy that I'm talking about specifically, Mr. SAS, and like, oh my God, dude, this fucking guy, like, he wouldn't call it MRE trash. Like, in the States, we call it trash, right? In Aussie, they call it rubbish. So if you'd like tear the top off of a pouch, so his deal was this, like, you tear the top off of the pouch, but you don't tear it and leave it like attached. Like, somebody might think, they're like, yeah, if you don't want to lose it, tear it, but don't tear it all the way off. Now, you could sit there and eat the fucking MRE, if you must, but then you don't risk like losing this thing. His thing was like, oh, no, don't tear it, don't leave it half torn, tear it all the way off, and then you hold it in your finger just like so, with the same hand that you hold the pouch. That way it doesn't flop around and catch light or some kind of shit. And I'm like, dude, if the make or break on me getting compromised and smoked is the tiny 1/4 of an inch strip hanging off the top of my MRE pouch, if that is what gets me seen and smoked, I was probably smoked anyway. All right, this is fucking horsecock. This is fucking stupid. But this guy was in charge, so I got to deal with this shit. So this guy's deal was, yeah, you fucking, you hold it like so, and then you make sure you don't leave any rubbish. There's a bit of rubbish right there. Go ahead and get that rubbish. And then you put it in your rubbish bag, right? Like your rubbish collection bag. And then you bring that shit with. And if you're smart, that thing's going to be a Ziploc, and you're going to have it in a pouch of your ruck that you don't go in for anything else. Because if you accidentally knock that thing open, man, I mean, you want to talk about compromised? I mean, they're talking about, you see a motherfucker like, I'm hiding out in the bush, right? And he's got his fucking ghillie suit on. He's all fucking face painted up, and like you can always tell the amateur because like they'll paint their face but then not their hands, or they'll wear a big gold fucking watch, or not paint their neck or whatever. And now, like, I see you, dude, you're right there, you're just like a guy with a painted face. What is this shit? And everybody's face paint is always like spot on, day one, like, this is how I conceal the high points or the more reflective points of my visage. But, you know, over here I try to highlight and it flattens the fucking curvature, and like, get the fuck out of here. Because by day 2 is like just the 4-finger swipe, ding, 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 like there. Just stop fucking looking at me. But, yeah, this dude would get in your ass, man. So you'll go this extra mile to make sure that, like, oh yeah, nobody could see me. But then the smell, man. And this is the worst part, I think, about an MRE is the fucking smell. These things fucking smell a mile a fucking way. There is nothing nastier, maybe than actual shit, right? Maybe like if somebody was carrying around an actual turd. Nothing smells worse than MRE trash. It is god awful. It is horrendous. So if you're going to eat this stuff, you're going to eat it, and then you're going to get that little Ziploc out, and you're going to put the MRE trash in there as quick as you can while holding your breath. And like, okay, it's over with. It's over now. I'm alive still, unfortunately. The downside of this all is that you got to carry extra water, dude. And it is probably water and batteries for radios is probably the single heaviest thing a guy's got to carry. Except maybe bullets. Bullets, you know, depending what you're carrying, that shit can get pretty heavy. But I mean, you're gonna want those bullets, goy. So you got to carry this extra water because you eat this thing and it's gonna sit in your guts like a lead slab. It sucks, dude. And there is just nothing nastier than, you know, some of these you know, beef stew or the ham slice. God damn, dude. And it comes in this watery shit that's like, oh, it's fucking nasty. They do have, they did in recent years, like, I don't know, maybe halfway through my time, they came out with a way to warm this thing. And I don't know what the thing is, but it's like this little chemical slab, and it comes in its own little sleeve. And the idea here is that you would, you'd put a little water in there, and it's got a little fill line on the bottom. You put a little water in there, the water reacts with whatever this chemical slab is, and it heats. So you would set the MRE, like you take the pouch out of the box, obviously, and you would slide it in there with this chemical shit, and now it'll sit there and it'll warm. So now when you pull it out, now you have a warm chemical sludge preservative to eat instead of cold chemical sludge preservative, which I guess if we're being fair is marginally better, still not very good. But the funny part is that the instructions on the little chemical sleeve warmer thing, it says like step 1, you know, unask the pouch and take it out of here, insert the pouch into the thing. Step 2, fill with water up to the line, you know, the line below. Step 3, lean against a rock or something. And then it's got like a little diagram of like a little shape and the pouch like leaning, and it says right on the thing, rock or something. So that's the joke. Like if you've seen this, everybody's seen it, where you're like, what the fuck? Like what Chinaman made this up, dude? It's like those chopsticks you see where it says like, hold it like this, put the other one like that. Now you can pick up anything. And yeah, it's like a guy picking up a truck with a set of chopsticks because he's holding it just so. So as far as other MRE tips and tricks, there's like a whole, I don't know what you call it, man. Like this kind of desperate nerd culture, I guess you'd almost call it, like this novelty act bullshit where people will come up with recipes for how to make different shit. I mean, it's really prison caliber, man. I mean, if you've ever seen any of that shit on YouTube that's like, look, here's how you make a delicious prison snack, and they'll take like some shit like dry ramen noodles and crunch it up and mix it with like fucking Fritos and then put, I don't know, macaroni and cheese sauce and then whatever the fuck they do with it, right? All this nasty shit. They're like, they're good. They're good as hell. Like, it's not good as hell, dude. It's passable because you've been in prison for a fucking decade, and what you're eating is just a slight change from the shit you've seen every day for the past 3 years. So it's not fucking good. It's fucking awful. But there are some dudes like, you know, I don't know how to say, man, maybe dudes that are like still, you know, E3 and below and think they're going to figure out some way to make this not as horrible as it obviously is. They're going to figure out some kind of shit. So there's all kinds of like MRE recipes. And these fuckers will have you like stripping down multiple MREs, and they'll figure out like, yeah, you take 2 packets of creamer, and you take the cheese spread, and then you get the pound cake and the freeze dried strawberries, and you smash all this shit together, and then you add some water, and then you spread it on a cracker, and then what the fuck did they call the cracker, dude? It was something. I can't remember what they called the cracker. Maybe it was just cracker. Hey, cracker. But I think it was just cracker. But you spread it on the cracker, and now it's what? Oh, it's strawberry cheesecake. I'm like, dude, this is not fucking strawberry cheesecake. This is a bunch of other horrible shit all sludged together on a cracker. That's what this is. This is not fucking cheesecake. Fucking quit it. So it basically just prolongs the misery, you know? So you take this shit, and some dudes will mix things up and make things into things that they think are other things, but they're not really. They're the same fucking things, and they're as bad as all the things were on their own. But I guess in all, there were a couple items, very, 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 very few items that were actually worth the shit. So I think the MRE was actually designed for when, like the Vietnam model, and all of this shit kind of goes together. Like your gear, like your kit, as dudes started calling it, like we're all fucking Brits now. Like your op gear, right? It used to be like in the day, like we had a lot of Vietnam model shit. So we'd have like those fucking green ass canteens, and in that pouch, in the bottom of that, there would be what's called a canteen cup. And it's a cup that it's like a metal cup, and it has these folding arms, and it's metal, so it's not super light. I wonder if you could get like a plastic. No, you wouldn't want a plastic canteen cup. But you got this metal cup, you have at least one of them, and the deal with this is that you could put it over a little fire, and the handles are thin enough where they don't conduct enough heat, so you won't burn your fucking fingers on them. It fits right in there, so the canteen sits in the cup, and then the cup and the canteen sit right in the pouch. It's actually a decent fucking design. And the deal with this was that you could get a little fire going, and now you could put that coffee, put that creamer, put some fucking sugar. You could at least sit there and have a halfway decent cup of coffee. All right, like you're miserable, you're sleeping outside, all this shit. And I'll tell you what, let me fucking caveat real quick. If cats are like, coffee's a fucking bitch, he doesn't like to go camping. Dude, this was not fucking camping. I will tell you, like, I don't mind going camping. I'm like, I won't go anywhere near that shit now because of how ruined it all was. But the way that we rolled when we were like bunny ears in the field was like, you'd have your plan of like, you're going to stay out here however fuck long it's going to be, right? 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, whatever. You go cruising around, everything that you're going to fucking live off of is in that fucking bag. And the way these fucks planned these training trips was like, you might start getting shot at any second. You might have to drop that shit and fucking bolt. So you have to fucking plan your shit. Like, everything that's in my pack is shit that I can live without. I got enough shit on my person to stay alive for like 24, 48 hours. I got my op gear on me. Maybe I got a power bar or some shit in there. I got maybe a Camelback or a canteen with some fucking water in it. If I got to fucking sprint, right? Like if I get engaged by fucking Al Qaeda, or I get engaged by the fucking Chechens are coming, you know, dudes with Quaker Oats beards, I'm going to drop this fucking ruck and I'm going to haul ass. So you got to have your shit all fucking staged out where like, yeah, this is how I'm going to fucking live. And you're living very carefully out of these three, like the shit that's right next to you on your person in your pockets, the shit in your bag, the shit on your gear. And you've got this all planned out very carefully. So you do this for 3, 4, 5 days. All right, you ain't living in no fucking tent, bro. That ain't in the fucking cards. You're going to lay up usually during the daytime, which means you're going to put up like a poncho, and that's basically like a camouflaged fucking just a fucking plastic sheet. Maybe put some IR netting over that to kind of hide yourself. You're going to hide behind a bush or whatever. And it don't matter how hot or cold it fucking gets. You're going to fucking sit there and you're going to sit still. You're not going to move. You're not going to talk. You're just waiting for it to get dark. And then you can move again. So you're going to fucking sit there and just hate life and try to stay alive. All right. Again, staying on watch the whole while, because who knows if you get shot at 3 seconds from now. All right. And in fairness, it is good training, because the last thing you want, you know, if recent history has taught us anything, Like, you don't want to be the guy that's out there getting fucking comfortable and now you get fucking shot at, right? You're going to be in a bad fucking way. So you have to do it this way. But it still fucking sucks. So you're going to sit there and fucking sweat, and then when it's nighttime, now you can fucking move again. So now you're going to get up and move and go, like, eyeball whatever you're looking at, go look for Carlos the fucking Jackal, go scout out some fucking area, pass through on your way to somewhere else, whatever the fuck you're doing, all right? So what does this leave you with? You ain't really getting a lot of sleep. If it's daytime, you kind of got to stay on the ball a little bit. Somebody's going to be on watch. You'll trade off in that capacity. But you're not going to sleep good during the daytime. Nobody ever does. That's complete ass. At nighttime, you're going to cruise. You're going to stop once in a while. Now your body wants to go to sleep, but you can't, man, because you got to fucking work. So when you do finally stop for the night, it's usually going to be when morning is starting to approach. So, you're going to start thinking about it maybe like 3 or 4. Like, all right, we got to find a good spot, to stop. When it's pitch fucking black, you're not really going to find anything. And again, when you got night vision, this can be easier, but shit looks a lot different in the daytime. So you're going to be cruising, and now you're going to fucking stop, and you're going to find your fucking spot. At this point, now you'll get maybe 2-3 hours or whatever. But now you're going to go back to that trading off of who's on watch and who's just going to sit there sweating. So when you're living like this, all right, the ounces fucking count, man. Like, how much shit are you carrying? How much water are you carrying around? Do you have enough? Do you have so much water that you're just some jackass camel? Like, dude, I brought way too much. And now you're just lugging this shit around for 6-7 hours a day? That fucking sucks, dude. So you got to think all this shit through. So with your food then, the MRE idea, yeah, man, it's super concentrated. Yeah, it'll keep you alive, but I am telling you, it is fucking miserable. If you got to get some kind of food like that, dude, pay the fucking money. Get your Mountain House snacks. Get online. I mean, shit, online now, you get what you want. Order those individual snacks. Like, this is the thing I like. This is the stuff I like to eat. Order that shit. If you know that you've, I don't know, what you would be doing this for. I mean, like in a hypothetical, right? Like if you know you're going to go on the run for 2, 3, 4 days, whatever, or you're going to go on a hike 2, 3, 4 days, or you have your bug out bag and you're going to always keep a rotating stock of shit and you're going to plan this way, this would work too. But the way I like to do this was if I knew I'm going and it's going to be a 3, 4, 5 day kick in the balls, I would get the shit that I like to eat, man. Get some nice, get a decent, like some cheese, some salami, maybe some fresh fruit even. Something nice, dude. And that shit will last you the whole first day. So like that whole first day, man, whether you're sitting there or it's like you insert at night, you're going to hump for a while, then you're going to stop. Like you're going to stop, you're going to be able to sit down, have some fresh fruit, have a slice of cheese. Oh man, it's so nice. A little fruit juice or something. Gluck, gluck, gluck. Oh, it's just so kind, right? Even if you bring like a little flask of fruit juice, dude, it makes the difference, man. It makes all the difference. And now, like, that shit would go wrong within a day or two, but you don't need it to last a day or two. Just bring enough for, like, that first 24 hours of, like, there, dude. I had a nice little piece of food. I had some salami, some cheese, some fruit juice, some fresh fruit. Oh, man. Like, that just leaves you stepped up at such a level. Because you do get to a point where you're like, dude, I don't care if I get shot right now. Like, you're just praying for it. Like, dude, the very first patrol I ever went on in Iraq, I fucked up and wore all the body armor shit that they give you. Because I know what the fuck I'm doing, right? My very first legit fucking patrol, I had on fucking front plates, back plates, side plates, the catcher's plate fucking thing over your nuts, full-fingered gloves, like the whole fucking deal, man. And I was so goddamn hot, I was like, I'm gonna fucking die. And we're doing this patrol, like this kind of shakeout patrol in the middle of the day, so everybody gets kind of the lay of the land. And I'm walking and I'm not even looking around me no more. I'm just looking at, like, if the shooting starts, I'm going for that shade right there. If the shooting starts, I'm going for that shade over there. So I'm just like going shade to shade to shade because I'm so fucking miserable. So like when you start suffering a little bit, like your head will go to this kind of shit. And this is after I've been doing this for 10 fucking years. Like I trained on this for 10 years before I was no shit in the shit. And this was still my attitude of like, dude, I am going to fucking die in the next hour, man. I need to sit down. So something like, like your MRE, you think like, I'm just going to live on MREs, man. Fuck that, dude. You will become so miserable. Like you'll walk yourself out. I'm like, I give up, dude. Like what happened? I just got too miserable. I couldn't go on. Fuck this. I don't want to be an extremist no more. This fucking sucks. The food sucks. Yeah, man, you cannot put enough of a price on decent food. So moving along then, some of the stuff I wanted to hit on. Geez, I got long-winded on that shit, but yeah, anyway. So some of the shit that's going on, man, it warrants a little talking, and I think one of the things that caught my attention here recently was, one, I saw this school shooting, university shooting that went down in Florida at FSU. And if you haven't heard about this was a couple of days ago, but it's this kid, Christian Eichner. And I tried to get my head around exactly what the fuck happened here. And I don't know, it's hard to make out like what the fuck is going on here. So the way this played out was this kid, Christian Eichner, 20-year-old kid that was going to Florida State University, got a hold of his mother's pistol. His mother was a 18-year sheriff's deputy at I don't know what county, somewhere nearby in Florida, I guess. Showed up and shot a bunch of people, killed 2 people and injured 6. So I'll tell you, that's pretty fucked up. I don't support that kind of thing. People shouldn't do that kind of thing. Looking at the situation as a whole, though, there's some weirdness to it. And I'm not saying like conspiracy theory shit, but there's some weirdness afoot for sure. So for one, like the backstory on this kid was his original name, the name that he went by for a period of time. And I couldn't find a whole lot on this. This was difficult to kind of unravel. But this kid went by the name Christian Eriksen for a period and had dual citizenship in both Norway and the U.S. So he had been taken to Norway when he was 5 years old by his, what is described in the papers as biological mother. And I guess there was some kind of a custody issue between this woman and the kid's father that resulted in this woman essentially losing parental rights and being ordered to pay some amount in restitution. I don't know for exactly what, though. I don't know if that's child support or exactly what. So in fairness here, I don't know. That's as much backstory as I could find on that. His mom, his birth mother, if you like, did seem to be a little bit unfucking stitched. But, who the fuck knows, right? In any case, woman does seem a little bit unstitched. Kid changed his name to Eichner, which I am guessing is his father's name, appears to be his father's name. But why he would have had his mother's name is beyond me. I don't know if that's some quirk of Norwegian passport giving or exactly what, but this was something that's out there. So this kid then gets raised by his father and this woman, Jessica Eichner, who I'm guessing is his dad's wife, this guy's stepmom. He was going to FSU and had joined several political clubs. Well, at least one political club is mentioned. And I was looking at this in the Independent and a couple of other places, but it's very dodgy. So they're very quick to like, oh yeah, dude, he was a total Trump supporter. And he was described as a white supremacist by some of the people in these political clubs. And I think it was the Independent where they asked somebody associated with this political club that like, well, so you say he's like a white supremacist and a racist. Like, what did he do or what did he say? And I shit you not, it says right in the article, well, nothing comes to mind right away. He just had some very conservative beliefs. And I'm like, God damn, dude. So this kid gets fucked around where like he's in Norway, he's not in Norway, he's with his mom, he's not with his mom. Now he's raised by this guy and this she-cop. And now he's going to FSU and now he's the bad guy and he's a horrible fucking guy. Well, exactly why? Well, I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure that he is. I mean, for fuck's sake, dude. I mean, the only thing missing here is psych meds, dude. I mean, if there was psych meds thrown in here as well, it'd be like, yeah, this makes perfect fucking sense. I mean, good God almighty, how much can you fuck with a guy before something bad happens? And I ain't justifying just going off shooting at fucking, at people, but some people are weak-minded, dude. And I guess the thing is, when you compare something like this to this kid's situation to some of this other bullshit that people are giving a pass to, i.e. this shit in Texas with fucking, what's this fuck's name? Carmelo Broccoli Anthony. When you compare it to something like that, oh, well, over here, well, how far are you going to push him? You put your hands on the man. How much you going to threaten a man before you expect some retaliation? You got to watch yourself, how you deal with a motherfucker. And it's like, well, wait a fucking minute. Over here, you're going to come at this guy about like, yeah, fuck this guy. This guy's fucking nuts, and he did this, this, and this. But over here, you're going to say, oh, well, you got to give this guy a wide berth no matter what he does or says or where he goes. So it's not to justify any of this shit, but to say that, like, what page are you assholes on? There's almost no fucking standards. There's no expectation. There's no sense of decorum of, like, this is how you fucking behave. This is how you treat people. This is how you talk to people. There's almost none of that. And then as it happens, of course, Zion Don comes out with, I condemn this shooting. I condemn any kind of violence. This is not the way Americans, not any American I would ever, claim. This is not fucking proper. It's just on it. Of course, he comes out and says something about that. Does he say anything about the Nog bringing a knife to a fucking track meet? Say anything about that? Does he say anything about my heart goes out to the family of Austin Metcalf? No, not going to hear anything about that. Of course not. Because no, I've been made aware of it. I don't know. We'll just have to let a lot of things happen sometimes. We've all got to work together. Let's not make this about race. Suddenly, we're working by a very different standard. But specific to that shit show, I guess that Nog has come out with, dude, I don't remember how much. I think it was like $400 and something thousand off of his Give, Send, Go shit. And these clowns immediately went out and bought an Escalade, rented a practical joke-sized house because they afraid, they be getting threats and shit, and they afraid. So they got to move somewhere expensive, and that's going to solve the problem. So they've also got representation, and I can't remember this Nog's name. It's like Dominique something. But this Nog has already been arrested and imprisoned several times. Now he's a lawyer. But this Nog has been imprisoned multiple times. Once for beating the shit out of his girlfriend's 2-year-old son. Or 2-year-old kid. I don't know if it was a son or a daughter. It's a, Noglet, whatever. For beating the shit out of his girlfriend's 2-year-old. All right? So these are not fucking classy people, man. This is madness. For my money, I'm inclined to think that this Nog is going to bail, that this Nog is going to run. And what are they going to lose then? Like you're going to lose your house? Like in their mind, you're going to lose your house or this cash. I don't know how this Nog got bailed out. His bail was only like $250 or something, like $250,000. What the fuck, right? Like that kid that I guess threw a Molotov at the governor of Pennsylvania, Governor Shapiro. Oh God, that guy didn't get bail. And he didn't kill anybody, but he doesn't get bail. And when you look at this shit, it's like we've almost come to a point where black crime is just part of the landscape. Because, we'll wring our hands about, this fucking school shooting. And, that's fucked up, dude. I am not cool with that at all. If my kids were going there, I'd be like, oh, I don't want that. If I was going there, I'd be like, I need to watch my fucking step around here. Shit's dicey. I don't want that kind of thing going on. But I do notice that with something like that, we're going to get spun up. We're going to get very excited. But then when it's just everyday black crime, oh yeah, some high school kid, three sport athlete. 3 sport athletes could be here. I hate 3 sport athletes, right? When it's something like that, then it's just like, well, golly, what could have been different? I saw an article that was like, maybe the weather was to blame, because man, if it just hadn't have been raining and if they had called off the track meet, yeah, if any of those things happened, this would have just happened later. Like, this Nog was always going to kill someone. This Nog was always going to land in prison. All right, so even if he does run on this thing, because he's getting charged with fucking murder, you can't just go around stabbing people in the fucking chest and not go to prison, right? So, and quite honestly, you brought a knife to a track meet, all right? You demonstrated intent, right? I intend to fucking get into some shit. You demonstrated intent by bringing this knife and going somewhere you weren't supposed to be. And then when confronted, you decided to make a fucking thing out of it. All of this, to me, certainly suggests premeditation. So, for my money, I think, well, I would say if he had a lawyer that was worth this shit, but he's got, Nog Lawyer Deluxe. But if he doesn't run, which I imagine he will, he's going to end up in prison one way or the other. He goes to prison on this, or he runs and he gets picked up doing something stupid. Robbing a liquor store, with a folding chair. Give me that money, I hit you with this chair and shit. Would that surprise you at all? It wouldn't surprise me a fucking bit. So, I mean, this was always going to end this fucking way. But just by way of comparison, I thought, we're running on, and the president needs to talk about a murder that took, or, this shooting that took place at FSU. This warrants the president's attention, and I need to take time out to make a comment. And people love saying that, like, well, it's white people. They're the mass shooters. They're violent and they're crazy. They're the ones that go fucking nuts and kill people. Well, let's take a look at what's going on in Chicago, man. So I just pulled up Chicago News Today. And I pulled this shit up, and what do I see, man? We finally caught this teen that's suspected of, teen, right? Obviously no picture. Suspected of involvement in a shooting in 2023. He's the only one of them we've caught, but we know he was with some other people when this shooting happened, so we're going to get to the bottom of it. Another guy was just arrested for another shooting in some other part of Chicago. And then, here's the best part. There was some guy arrested at a pro-Palestinian protest, and he's going to get hit with hate crime charges for punching two counter-protesters who, turned out to be Jewish. So apparently, like, these two Hebrews didn't even have any, they weren't wearing their, as far as I know, right? They're only listed as DePaul students, but they turned out to be Jewish. And there's this pro-Palestinian fucking rally protest fucking thing. And this little 56% mud puppet rolls up and drills one of them in the head. I want to say drilled both of them, but definitely sucker punched one of them. And, I mean, even as described in the article, they turned out they were Jewish. And as it happens, the DePaul students were both Jewish. So this guy's getting hit with, I don't know what all they're gonna hit him with. I mean, probably some kind of like conspiracy to riot, attempted murder, or some kind of shit. But they're throwing in that hate crime booster as well. And like I said, man, like, you're going to have to actively demonstrate that, like, dude, I had no idea that they were God's chosen special people. I thought they were just regular white people I was assaulting. And if he can demonstrate that, then probably he'll get cut loose. Like, if he's got a friend that'll come forward and be like, yeah, he just said to me, like, them two white motherfuckers, I'm going to go punch them in their head for their privilege. Oh, well, that's perfectly understandable. I'm very sorry, Mr. Tyrone. Go ahead and get back to business. In that case, I think it'll probably be all right. But, yeah, so when I look at something like that, like just Chicago, and that's not even counting the other majority black cities. I just saw a thing today that it's actually Memphis that is taking over as the per capita most violent city in the country, between places like Memphis, St. Louis, Detroit, Camden, New York, Houston. I mean, pick a fucking place, man. So what I think it's going to have to be is like, hey, we're just going to, just like when you're kids, you two aren't going to be able to play it together anymore because it just ends badly every time. All right, these people fuck around until somebody gets fucking smashed, and then it's hands across America for like the professional victims. So me, what can you do, man? I mean, at best, of late, I guess all you could do is really just pop some corn and watch the fucking show. Oh, that reminds me, the thing I wanted to end on was this guy, and I can't remember this guy's fucking name. The guy that got deported to El Salvador, the guy they're calling Maryland Man, Maryland Father who got deported through a clerical error, and the Bush administration, the Trump administration admits that this was a clerical error and that he had permission to be here. What I'm hearing now, and I see the fucking report on this guy getting hemmed up, was that Maryland Father already had a deportation order. He was in the country illegally. But this asshole managed to show up to court and convince people that, well, yeah, because I'm a gang member, if I get sent back to El Salvador, I'm going to get killed by a rival gang. So I have to stay here. So what does the U.S. government do? Well, we can't very well send him home, can we? So when this idiot got contacted, he was in the company of two other illegals, and they were being contacted for purposes of asking about a recent murder. So they hit this guy up along with two other MS-13 guys to ask about a recent murder. The guy has $1,700 cash on him. They roll all three of them up, and then this asshole is like, oh yeah, but I have permission to stay. I'm Maryland Father. And like, yeah, no, go fuck yourself. So they launch his ass back, and now whoever this fucking judge is that's like, oh, no, you have to get him back here. And to his credit, that guy Bukele in El Salvador, the guy running El Salvador down there, is like, yeah, you could ask all you fucking want. I don't work for you, and I ain't sending that piece of shit back. He's staying right here where he fucking belongs. I appreciate it. What a fucking guy, right? So with that, man, I think that's about as much as I could stand. You've probably had your fill. If you dig this shit, man, leave it where somebody can find it. If you want to fuck with me, I am on the Telegram at The Abuse Hour, t.me/The Hour, or associated chat, t.me/rant room. Or you could try me on the gram. I'm niceguy.coffee, I think, for the time being. I went pretty hard in the paint on some Hall of Cost cattle car posting that I stumbled across this morning while I had nothing going, and I just sat there for like an hour straight and unloaded. And dude, I will tell you, some of these Brovet things, like the Hasbara has their hooks in deep, dude. Like, if you've seen it, I know you recognize it. They're like some of these professional Israeli shill accounts that are like, I'm just regular Joe, I work at a tractor store or whatever. And they get in there, man, and they're like just running with like straight Unit 8200 talking points. And man, just like MREs or slave quarters, that shit makes my blood boil. So I went hard in the paint for a good while. It was a pretty good time, man. If you get a chance, check it out. Anyways, that's enough for me, man. So until next time, you keep your eyes on the horizon and keep your neck out of the noose. I have been Coffee. These are my takes.